All right, boys, that's another win. This is a ball I made, and I'm putting it back there. It wasn't the most spectacular thing I've ever seen, but a win is a win, and I think that's something we have to remember. There's some stuff to talk about, some changes that were made that did improve the way this team played, which is a very good sign considering the first half, they did struggle a little bit. In that first 45 minutes, Red Star did a pretty good job attacking that back line, creating chances in behind and staying onside. Mbappe, you could try that once in a while. I don't know. It's just an idea. But yeah, they were doing a pretty good job of it. They figured it out. Maximovic didn't look great today. Sorry, homie. There's only 2 good 17-year-olds on the pitch, but they did a pretty good job attacking, so much so that after a very decent start to the game, I think Barcelona were shell-shocked a little bit. So instead of sending all the fullbacks up to press high, instead of putting as much focus forward as possible, they did sit back a little bit deeper. And when they do that, it allows teams like this to go forward with more confidence. You were seeing the fullbacks go forward for Red Star pretty confidently. That opens up more space for them and makes it much more difficult for this Barcelona side to press well, especially when the fullbacks invert. It makes it a little bit difficult for the fullbacks on Barcelona to send, Koundé or Gerard Martin in this case up forward, and it changes the way the game plays a little bit. That's what we saw a little bit in the first half, but they responded really well in the second. Obviously, they scored a second goal at the end of the second half, or the end of the first half, that made it a little bit calmer. Overall, I think they came out of the gate in that second half exactly the way you would have liked. They were energetic. They were making those runs in behind again that had slowed down a little bit going into the end of the first. Now, it wasn't spectacular, but to walk away with a 5-2 win at a difficult place with a bunch of youngsters, I'm really happy about it. There's really, no negatives to take from this except what happened to Pau Cubarsí. If you guys didn't see it, he was going in for a header, I think, to clear a cross, and the forward, I think, for Red Star cleated him in the cheek, and they're all wearing metal spikes probably, so when you get cleated in the cheek, it genuinely looked like a hole opened up in his face. I don't know the severity of it. I don't know if that's going to come out immediately. He genuinely might need stitches, and that might delay his ability to come back into first team football, which is unfortunate considering we don't have a lot of depth. There isn't a lot of depth there besides Inigo Martinez. The next guy up is either Koundé, which means you got to play Hector Ford on the right, or Sergio Dominguez, who had a pretty solid performance today too. Again, we'll get into more of that specifics in the player ratings. But overall, very solid outing from this team in a game that very easily could have gotten difficult and did for a period, but they recovered, came back, and showed that what happens to Osasuna against Osasuna is not going to happen again, or at least it didn't today, and I think that's a great sign. But then jumping right into player ratings, I think Iñaki Peña was fine today. I actually don't think he was very good. He didn't make a single save today. He conceded 2 goals. They were the goals that you kind of expect to happen when the high line doesn't play high perfectly, and I'm going to get into specifically why I think that happened today. But yeah, fine performance. It's a game I kind of wish that Wojtek started. It's unfortunate he didn't, because realistically, Red Star had 4 shots on goal the entire match, so I don't think there's that much of a risk in the game. Iñaki was able to come out of the box pretty well at times. Maybe that's why Chesney isn't necessarily played there yet. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on, because I don't think the next game is a good test for him against La Real. That's a much better opponent, or likely a better opponent than Red Star, so we'll see how that changes going into the next few weeks and months, but I want to see the Pole get more minutes, because Iñaki is just clearly not the perfect goalie. But the point is, I want to see Chesney now. We've seen the flaws in Peña's game, conceding 2 when they had 4 shots on goal. Like, okay, yeah, he was kind of one-on-one with you, but no saves either. I don't know. I want to see more from a keeper, and so I don't see a ton of risk in actually playing. So I think a 5.5 is fair. You could probably be generous and give him a little bit more. I'm not going to be generous today, and I'm definitely not going to be generous with Gerard Martin. I think the kid was shocking, and I think he's the main reason the high line didn't work out so well. You saw him a little unsure of when to step up, when to drop back. He was like jumping back and forth a couple times, and I was just very confused at what he was doing. That held the first goal onside and made it difficult for the team in the first half. So yeah, he needs to be better. He wasn't that good going forward. He wasn't that good linking up. He was inverting his runs, which works for Balde because he's pretty decent on the ball. Gerard Martin is not good on the ball. It's a weird profile. I'm surprised he still gets played there over Hector Fort. even though Hector Fort is a right-footed player. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. I'm going to give Gerard Martin a 5 because I think he got a little bit better in the second half defensively, but it is what it is. It was for rotation, and thankfully Balde didn't have to play any minutes, and it wasn't a big deal. So that's good. Martin did not play well. Inigo Martinez, though, played very well. Yeah, I'm very happy with him. Not only did he score a great header on a great ball from Rafinha to start off the scoring, but yeah, just really good defensively. He is the best defender in this high line. And genuinely, he might be better than Araujo just because of his ability to get back. I don't know. I have to see more from Araujo in that position. It might be him, but he's really good. Kubarsi, though, I'm going to give Inigo an 8. I think that's very fair. Kubarsi, I'm going to give him a 7.5. I think he was good. He is clearly not as good as Inigo at holding that high line, but he has 15 years less experience of him at the top flight. So of course he should be worse at that, at something that you need to be have a super high football IQ to be really good at. I'm not surprised he's not there yet. He was pretty good today, though. That doesn't mean he was playing badly. I'm just kind of comparing him with what else we saw at the back. And especially because Koundé was so elite today. I genuinely think he was the second best player on this pitch by a very good margin. 8.5. I'm going to give him a 9, actually. I think he was that good, which is interesting because I think he started the game poorly. I don't think he was clicking that well going forward, but he walked out with 2 assists or a hat trick of assists today. Yeah, he walked out with a hat trick of assists, and that's just spectacular from him. He was struggling to put a good ball in that first half, but then it clicked, and he was making it happen. He was finding that space. He was finding Pedri, Rafinha in that kind of like pass, that check-up. I don't remember the term for that exactly, but he was figuring it out, putting really good balls in, looking threatening as well as defending, locking down Maximovic in a fantastic fashion. Really well done from Koundé. Continues to be probably our most consistent player this entire season, and I am so grateful that he is there, and hopefully he stays there for a very long time. The midfield now was a little bit less solid. I think Frankie was okay. I don't think he was his best game, especially defensively. He seems to be not off of it, but he's not as good defensively, at least, as Casado is, and we know that, right? That's fine. I'm going to give Frankie a 7 just because of that. I think he was okay attacking-wise. When the team had more momentum, had more rhythm, he was going forward, actually making runs in behind, which was interesting to see, actually, but he was fine. I think he was decent. Not spectacular, not terrible. Pretty good on the ball for the most part, too. Casado, though, I think Casado was better. I'm going to give him 7.5. Again, not spectacular because of what went on in the first half. The whole team kind of struggled, but I think the midfield especially did. But Casado is very solid. I think he looked better than Gavi, too, even in the second half when Gavi came on with Fermin as well. He looked really good. I really like Casado. I'm so glad he is here, and he gives us another profile to work with. And that brings us to the forwards. I think Lamine was really good today. He didn't necessarily get that final ball perfect today, but I really think he's just a cheat code in possession, in breaking out of pressure, and honestly, creating. He is so good. He was beating his man constantly. He was embarrassing everybody on the pitch. He looked fantastic. It wasn't his greatest performance, but I'm going to give him an 8 because I think anything less than that is offensive. I just think he is so good that even when he is not scoring, he is still so good, and people might underestimate that. Pedri, though, I think Pedri was solid today. I don't think it was his best game, just because the first half was a little bit of a struggle, and he did come off after 58 minutes, so we didn't have a ton more of him to see. Really good game from him still, though. I'm going to give him an 8 as well. He was playing a little bit differently, playing a little bit more forward, making those runs in behind, so it's a different Pedri that we see, but he's still so good at everything he does, linking up well on everything. Lewandowski, too, was really good today. He came out with a brace, probably could have had more than that, and was just in the right place at the right time, made a good strike on balls when he needed to, and was in the right place at the right time. That's the most important part. Got some goals. Got him when we needed him. Really well done from him. 8.5, 8, I think is very fair. Rafinha's my man of the match. I'm going to give him a 9 as well as Koundé. I just think Rafinha, without him today, it would have been a little bit different. He's the X factor, man. I think he's came out with a goal and an assist, or 2 assists and a goal. Yeah, he's just great. He's making those crazy runs in behind every single second of the match. Knows where to be, when to be it, and he's linking up well. He blew some chances away, too, in the first half, right when we were struggling a little bit. He pounded some balls over the bar, but it figured it out, got it down, and made some really good strikes. And actually, that one of Lewandowski's goals was very nearly another one for Ref. So well done from the side, somehow putting 5 goals in when they were struggling. And to just get the subs in real quick, Fermin Lopez got a goal. I'd love to see that. Obviously, you guys know how big of a fan I am of his. He looked really good. I'm going to give him a 7.5. I think he looked intense. I think he looked exciting, and I think he clicked better than he has this entire season today. And again, it is Red Star Belgrade, but it's not the easiest of matchups, but I think Firmino was really good, won the ball back a lot, very solid. Dani Olmo, very solid too. I'm going to give him a 7, was linking up pretty well. He made a few questionable passes that I would have done differently if I were to go back, but pretty solid overall. Held possession when we needed to, didn't really force anything or didn't force a ton enough to help this team over the line. Good job from Danny today. And Dominguez, I'm going to give him a 7 as well. I think Sergio Dominguez was okay. I really don't think he put a foot wrong. He did what he needed to do when he didn't expect to come in. That's very difficult for players, and I'm proud of him today. We've seen him be good. We've seen him be less good this season, and today was a positive. And then Gavi and Pau Victor, I'm going to give them 7s as well. I think they both put in good performances for different reasons. Gavi was intense, made a couple really good sliding tackles, and was linking up okay with Casado. Casado, I think, was better. But again, Gavi needs to work into this side a little bit, and I'm okay with him getting a little bit more and more minutes every game and slowly becoming a bigger part of this team. Good job from him. And Pau Victor had a couple really good moments at striker today, linking up pretty well, holding the ball off pretty well, and doing his job to mimic Lewandowski as much as possible. And he was solid. Yeah, no really complaints from him. Good job all around from this side today. I'm really happy that they turned this out in a game that very well could have been difficult for them. Nothing's difficult for Hansi Flick, I guess. I don't know. This was incredible. Let's go, vamos. I'm excited for La Real on Sunday, and you should be too. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys all in the next one on Sunday. So, peace.